Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat, but if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content from time to time, and I would love if you would like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. Thanks for coming back. So if you are unfamiliar with what a WIP Chat is, WIP, W-I-P, stands for work in progress. I am currently working on My Hanukkah Wish. If you'd like to see the unboxing for that, I will leave that up in the eye. You can work on whatever it is that you want to be working on, whether it be another craft project, a household project, while you're driving, while you're doing chores, while you're working, while you're pretending to work, whatever it is that you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP and Chat. I feel like I just grabbed a pen that has no wax in it, which is par for the course. This image, just right off the bat, I'm just going to tell you guys, it has a lot of ABs in it. Like, it doesn't have an excessive amount of ABs. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 ABs and 2 crystals. So it has a lot of ABs, but it has a lot of ABs in like one concentrated place. So like row after row after row, like a ton of in the windowsill. So I feel like I'm having to refill my wax far more often because it's not like using it as a highlight. It's using it as like a primary. Let's see. Did I just make that? Yeah, okay. Anyway, sorry, tangent. So I haven't been working on this for a couple days. So I'm excited to sit back down, but I knew when I sat down that I was going to have to like really put in the work. And yeah, so far I'm really loving the image. I can't wait to share the final thoughts with you guys. I don't know if I'm being too ambitious thinking I can get 2 holiday kits done this month. If you guys are new here or you don't watch many of my videos, you don't really know what's going on in my life, which is totally cool because you'll learn all about it today, right? My kiddo is a figure skater and December is NUTCRACKER month. So things have just gotten chaotic. I have like all these things that I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to record this. I'm going to do that. And none of it's happening because I am just back and forth to and from the rink more than normal. I mean, I'm always back and forth to and from the rink, but so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my week here. And a friendly reminder, I mentioned this, I think it was my last WIP Chat, probably. I will be kicking off the Christmas premieres. If you guys don't know anything about that, it is a large group of creators who do these live premieres. This year it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas. And it is, each creator gets their hour time slot, and it is a live premiere. If you don't know what that is, the videos themselves are pre-recorded, but your creator is live in the comments, so you can chat with them as if it were a live video. They're a lot of fun. They're a great way if you are home alone for the holidays and you want to feel less alone. You come hang out with us. We'll keep you company. Or if you are somebody who maybe you are in the kitchen and you're preparing a lot of the food and you just want your chill time, you know, pop in an earbud and hang out. Or if you just don't have anything exciting going on and you want a break from your life or your reality, come hang out with us. So I will be kicking it off. My time slot is 6 a.m. on Christmas Eve, Eastern Standard Time. And if you miss my video as it's airing live, that's okay, because it's a pre-recorded video. So you can always go back through the playlist and start from the beginning and watch mine and then let it autoplay into the next ones. Or you can pick and choose whose videos you'd like to engage with. It's always a fun time, and it's a really great way to meet new people or new to you people in the diamond painting community. I've done this for a couple years now. I've done the kickoff spot now. I think this is the 3rd year I've done the kickoff spot. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm hoping that it is a fun and enjoyable video for you all. My husband will be a part of it. If you are somebody who regularly subscribes to my channel and watches all my videos, you may hear some of the same stories that you've heard before, but who knows? When you get the two of us in a room together, typically shenanigans ensue. So we shall see. But I'm excited. It's an honor to be a part of it. And it's just, Crafts with Crashly is who is the organizer currently. It is just a really great time. And I hope that you guys, whether you choose to tune into my premiere or not, I hope that you guys check it out and show some love and support to some of the creators in your life. Also, total tangent. This has nothing to do with that. Anybody, if you create videos for diamond paintings, it could be short form content, they can be long form content, doesn't matter. What do you refer to yourself as? Because I hate with a passion influencer. Like, do I influence you guys to buy stuff? I'm sure there's some people who've been like, you know what? I saw that on Lindsay's channel. I'm going to check that out. But I'm not out here being like, go buy this product. You know, like, I'm not like a beauty influencer who's showing you how beautiful this product is and everybody needs it. And I saw that in conversation recently about a diamond painter. And I was like, I don't, that did not settle well with me. Maybe because I don't feel like I'm that kind of person, like I'm influencing people, but maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But yeah, anyway, total tangent. How are you guys? How was your week? What are you doing right now? You don't have to answer all of those questions. I love when I ask a bunch of questions in my videos and then people are always like, by the time I get a chance to comment, I forget what you've already asked. So I'm like, that's pretty par for the course. I ask a lot of questions. I ask a lot of questions like in my real life. I am that person. If I don't understand something or I just don't know if I heard it correctly, I will always ask for clarification. And I don't know if you guys know this or not. I don't know if this is something I've ever discussed. It's not like, oh, do you know? But I went back to school in my 30s and got one of my degrees, or my only degree, I guess. And I remember sitting in one of my classes and I had a kid who had just graduated high school. This was their first semester in college. Come up to me afterwards and thank me for asking questions, because in high school, they teach you the stuff and then they expect that you know it. And a lot of kids get to college and they don't want to ask questions because they don't want to be perceived as like, I wasn't paying attention, I'm not smart enough, whatever it is. And in reality, in college, your professors want you to ask questions. They want to know what it is that you maybe aren't understanding or that needs to be gone over with a little bit more explanation. Because especially if you're taking a class where a professor's been teaching the same class for like years and years and years, they might not even realize that there's some things that people don't understand. And it's really important as a student that if you don't speak up, like they won't know. And so I just remember this kid being like, thank you so much. And I was like, you're welcome. Like you're allowed to ask questions. And I just remember encouraging that. And, yeah, I hope I just put the right color down. I did. So I don't know if you guys can see this from your angle, but these are the latkes, which is like the potato pancake, and there's sour cream. Here's a present. These are dreidels, which they look good. I'm excited to see this completely unfold. I've been enjoying like the overall image of this kit. So like I said, I can't wait to see the finished product on this, but like I mentioned earlier, this past week was one of our nutcrackers. And when I say one of, we still have another one. We still have 2 more skating events this month. It's a lot. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. My kid loves it. She loves being in the shows. She loves being in the showcases. She loves performing. She loves watching performances. She loves all of that. She's a very performative kid, whether or not she's on the ice. I was talking to one of the other moms the other day, and she asked me if Briar liked musical theater, and I was like, she likes anything theatrical. Like, it could be a movie musical, it could be live theater, it could be like Disney on Ice, Cirque du Soleil, like anything performative, and she is just all about it and in awe. So hopefully that continues, especially as she is in a sport where you are required to be like that. I mean, I guess you're not required to. Not every kid is like that. But I'm excited to see where this goes. So last Sunday, we went to a friend's birthday party. She does skate with my daughter, but we actually... sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera. We actually go like way further back. Her and her brother were in a music class with my daughter when they were little. Her brother and Briar are a couple months apart. He's a couple months older, and then she was like a baby at that time. But then we reconnected one day. Our kids were horseback riding together, and I put two and two together that she was the woman from the music class. And then we saw each other at the rink, and it just kind of turned into, okay, now our girls are friends. And it's just wonderful to watch their little friendship blossom. And she had a party at their house with live animals. Now, first things first, if you don't know, I am severely allergic to cats, dogs, and rabbits. Probably a couple others in there. So I made sure to be highly medicated. I took my daily allergy pill. I took my prescription allergy pill. And I was like, I'm going to try to not touch as many things as possible. But a lot of it required the adult to hold the animal and then the kid to come pet. So some of those things were unable to be avoided. But if you don't know anything about my daughter, besides the fact that she loves ice skating and wants to be a figure skater, like professionally, she also wants to be a vet. She loves animals so much, specifically cats and birds. She's like, Mommy, I want a duck. And I was like, well, we are not allowed to have ducks where we live, which is true. But also, I'm not getting a duck. Ducks poop everywhere. They can be super cute, but like, I am not trying to deal with that. So we went to this house, and the first round was birds. Everything from like little birds to bigger birds. She had a bird climbing all over her arm. She had like little birds that she got to see. All sorts of birds. There was a parakeet. There was one that was talking. One that wasn't really talking. And she was so... when they first brought in the birds, like, her eyes got so big. She was like... and then when they said, you can hold the bird, she was like, Mommy, I can hold the bird. And I was like, do you want to hold the bird? She's like, I want to hold the bird. So, that was super cool. She got an opportunity to hold a bird. The one bird was just chilling on her arm, and I felt bad because she got some... there was also an airbrush tattoo artist there, and my daughter picked her two tattoos, and they were both cats. One was like a really long black cat that she had all down her arm, and the other one was a white and yellow. Actually, I'll put a picture of it here. And you guys, it was so funny. Like, the next day she was all bummed because you couldn't see the white and yellow one as much, but you could also see the marks from the bird, like, climbing up and down her arm and the one arm. I felt so bad. She said it didn't hurt. It just didn't feel super comfortable, but that was kind of the price to pay for holding the bird and having the bird climbing on you. But you guys, it is a week and a few days later, and that white and yellow one's gone, but that black one is still hanging on for dear life. And I don't know what they put in the black spray, but it It's hanging on. So then they also had a round where the kids got to meet other like lizards and snakes and uh other little critters. She got to pet a chinchilla, which if you guys know Ashley, she used to be diamond art, but she has expanded because she is more than just a diamond painter. And Ashley has a couple coloring pages available and coloring books, and one of them is the chinchilla coloring book. It's available on Amazon. I will link that down below. And I got it when she released it for Briar. And she was so excited to actually like get to touch a real life chinchilla after coloring the chinchilla pictures. You can also pick up some of Ashley's images in diamond painting form over at Jolly Gem Shop. So go support her. Check her out. Anyway, so she got to hold a bunny. She got to a couple of them. They said like they don't do very well with children being the ones holding them, so an adult needs to hold them and then the kids can pet them. Well, one of them was a hairless cat. You guys, I held this hairless cat. It was so cute. And it was like a warm peach. It had like peach fuzz all over. I've never held a hairless cat in my life. I've never seen one like in real life. I've only seen photos of them. And I used to think like when I was younger that they were super gross looking. But middle-aged me thinks they're absolutely adorable. And of course my daughter's like, Mommy, can we get one? No, girl. Mommy is not getting a hairless cat. Like, I can barely take care of you. Let alone let's throw in an animal that requires a lot of additional love because it doesn't have any hair. It also doesn't have any eyelashes. So, like this poor cat, you could see they get stuff in their eyes. Our eyelashes are functional, not just in appearance. But she had the best time. And then we got to go downstairs and have some food and some cake. And she just had a really great time. And the little girl whose party it was, she had, there were a bunch of other kids there. She has 2 brothers, so each one of the boys got to invite some friends. And so it was really nice. There was a nice mixture of kids. And so we were talking, we were sitting there, and the one mom said to her daughter, do you want to sit next to Briar? And she goes, no, I want to sit next to Briar's mom. And I was like, oh, okay. She was a little nervous at the party, and when she came out and got her tattoo, I was like, oh, let me see what you got. You know, it's just being nice and being friendly, and she just really latched onto that. If you guys see a lot of commotion, I just finished that little square, so I'm going to peel my release paper and just shift a little bit. This here is going to be the girl's head. But I'm trying to. I usually use like a really large piece when I'm working on something like that. I'm going to readjust for now. But anyway, so I was like, you want to sit next to me? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, of course I'll sit next to you. I didn't really sit. I just stood. But, you know, I was, sure, no problem. She was very excited by that. And somehow we started talking, and I said something about birthdays, and her brother said, oh, her birthday is on November 13th. And I just looked at her and I said, no way. She's like, yeah, that's my birthday. And I'm like, that's my birthday. And another kid at the other end of the table pipes up and goes, that's my birthday too. I'm like, what are the odds that 3 people at one birthday party, one like small birthday party, it's not even like a massive, large birthday party, we all have birthdays on the same day. Like that blew my mind. I don't know if it blew anyone else's mind, but it blew my mind. I'm going to grab a couple colors out here while I'm talking to you guys. So if you see my arm go across, that's what's happening. But yeah, it was a great time. We had a really good time. And I'm super thankful that they invited us. Hopefully we get to go to another one of their parties. My daughter really seems to enjoy spending time with this little girl. And after the party ended, I hung out and talked to the mom for a little bit because our girls were both skating in the Nutcracker and she had some questions. And so Briar took that as an opportunity to go play in her playroom with her. And I was like, that's fine with mommy, but when I tell you it's time to go, it's time to go. And if you guys have ever heard me say, like, we don't do TV, it's funny because people think that it's like, oh, you're like one of those moms. No, no, no. I did not set out to be one of those moms. Mommy. Sorry, I'm used to referring to myself that way because of my kid. I did not set out to be that person, but I've become that person because my daughter can't transition from one thing to the next. And so with TV, for example, we just don't do it because I'd rather her not watch TV and not deal with the tantrum than to watch it and deal with the massive meltdown because we have to go do something else. Now, that being said, my child does get to watch TV from time to time, but we're not like a regular house. Like, our TV's not on all the time. And I've had people, like, in my real life make comments, and thinking, like, I'm not trying to be better than anyone or anything like that. My kid just can't move from one thing to the next. I'm trying to grab a couple colors here, and of course they're all the way up here. What is your favorite storage system when you are working on a kit that has more than 60 colors? Whew. Let me know down below. I am very interested because I like these round containers. My only problem is when I am working on a kit that has more than 60, I have to have 2 of them out on my desk, which I don't really find that convenient. At least not most of the time. So yeah, let me know. I am very, very interested. I love my Elizabeth Ward, but I also feel like I have that same problem where if I have a lot of colors, I need more than one set out on my desk. So what color did I just put down? So I am like 20 minutes into this video and I have only talked to you guys about one day. That is crazy pants. The next day, we went to school. My husband, I can't remember if he was off or if he was done early that day, but he did not go with us to see Wicked. She and I went, and honestly, like, I think he was totally cool with that because he's never seen the show. I've seen the show. He knows a couple of the songs just from like them playing in like on social media and things like that, but he's not really super familiar. Also, can we talk about the fact that like my husband growing up never saw The Wizard of Oz? I'm like, what? That's crazy to me. But anyway, my daughter saw Wicked for the second time. If you guys, which is crazy to say out loud because I'm pretty sure we're going to try to see it again on Christmas because they have the sing-along version. She's never once asked me to see a movie again in theaters. And she's just like super, super into Wicked. And she is constantly playing the soundtrack in her bedroom. And, like we have... I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, but we have, like, some schools have spirit days, like, leading up to Christmas break or winter break or whatever they want to call it these days. My daughter has, like, freaking Spirit December. It drives me crazy. We don't need weeks of my kid needing to dress in a theme, and I get it. It's supposed to boost morale, but as a PSA from parents to, I guess not even educators, but parents to whoever creates the spirit calendar and the idea of the spirit calendar. Listen, stop. A couple spirit days, fine. Okay? But parents, we have enough on our plate as it is during the holiday season, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. Like for me, my kid is also in 3 different ice shows in the month of December. So not only does she have her own holiday stuff going on, And the school stuff, like, she's got enough going on that I don't want to have to worry about putting together these themed outfits all the time. And I know they're not mandatory. And I certainly don't do all of them. And I don't even encourage her to do all of them. However, you get to a point where, like, your kids, like, they either are super into it or they're not. So, like, she had an ugly sweater day. And instead of wearing an ugly Christmas sweater, because they can't call it that, because we like to use the term holiday spirit to make it seem inclusive, even though every day is Christmas themed. But she has a wicked sweater that looks like an ugly Christmas sweater. And it has the rose of the pink and then the rose of the green, and it alternates. And she wore that. Because what are they going to do? Say to me, oh, she can't wear that? It's not a Christmas sweater? No. So she has so many themed days, and one of them coming up is wear a costume from your favorite holiday movie. Guess what? She's going to wear a dress-up outfit from Wicked, because Wicked came out on Thanksgiving. That's a holiday. They didn't specify that it had to be a holiday-themed movie. And honestly, I don't think they're going to care that much, you know? But anyway, I digress. So we saw Wicked again, had a great time. The next day, Tuesdays, we do early morning ice. Now, our coach apparently forgot to put that in her calendar that we do early morning ice with her. Because we've only had one lesson with her coach, but we've had one early morning lesson with her coach. But we've had plenty of morning ice. And so she showed up with like a couple minutes of my kids' ice time to go. And she's like, did we have a lesson today? And I was like, we did. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. So we didn't end up having a lesson, but my daughter got to do her morning ice. And because my husband, I don't know if he was off or if he wasn't going in till later that day. I can't remember. I think he was off. He was actually at the rink with us, and he's never seen her skate in the morning. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, what's the difference between skating in the morning and skating in the afternoon? My child has so much more attention and focus because it's earlier in the day. She hasn't put in, an entire day at school. And the ice is almost empty, so she has a lot more confidence to work on whatever skills she's working on, whether it be crossovers or waltz jumps or her spins. Like the one day she just kept going on and on. She was so excited because if you do your spins with multiple rotations and you do them correctly, it looks like a bowl of spaghetti on the ice because you just see like the round mark from the blade. So she was very excited about that the one day. But it was nice. My husband got to see her like really fully skate to her potential, because when we have our Wednesday lessons, it's much busier, so it's a lot harder. But then she went to school, and then while she was at school, we had to drop off our NUTCRACKER tickets to my mother-in-law, my brother and sister-in-law. I feel like there was somebody else. We ran to Target for something, which is down that way. My husband and I ate at the diner, which we haven't done in forever. And it's funny because I was like, do you want to go to the diner for breakfast? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And there was a older couple. Let me just preface this by saying we live in a very conservative area that has a lot of elderly folks that predominantly look like me, and very Christian, very white conservative. Anyway, so we were at brunch, and there was somebody who was sitting at the table on the other side of Brian and I, sitting down, and it was an older trans woman, and the older couple on the other side of us. If I could have gone over there and picked the older lady's jaw off the floor, I was like, you are being so incredibly rude right now. Like, the audacity to just sit and stare at people and not even try to be like stealth about it whether you agree with something or not, I think we've all been raised well enough to know that it's rude to just stare at someone for whatever reason. And as somebody who used to have a foot-high mohawk, I am quite used to the stares of people out in public. But it, like, I was like, damn, lady, like, you don't have to stare at her so hard. But yeah, that was fun. And then we had a couple different stops that we had to make. And then it was dress rehearsal for the one Nutcracker. So I had to pick my kiddo up from school early, which I didn't realize, even if I pick her up early, like, it still is like an absence and not like a early. I don't know what the terminology is. So it was mandatory. We had to be there. And the woman at the front desk is like, listen, we have so many kids that this happens for, because not just our Nutcracker, but like the ballet Nutcracker, you've got a ton of dance schools in the area and everybody's doing the same thing at the same time. So we went to dress rehearsal. First of all, these kids are so cute in their costumes. And I think I mentioned last week, there is a woman that I absolutely despise at the rink. I despise her for, like, personal, like, it has nothing to do with, like, her rink behavior. Like, I know her outside of this. Our kids went to school together, and she had a situation where she's one of those people that thinks that rules don't apply to her. And it's very, very frustrating, because I have this like sense of justice that, like, if there are rules set in place, they're there for a reason, and just follow them. You don't like them, you don't have to, like, but just follow them. So we were told, once you get to the doors, which lead to the benches and the locker rooms, that nobody is allowed past that point unless they are safe sport certified, which is like having your clearances to help at sporting, like, events. And she had previously asked if she could bring her professional camera, which, like, if this woman's a photographer outside of this, I'd be shocked. But she was told no, and she went back there anyway. And the coaches were clearly very busy because it's the dress rehearsal. And so we get to what would be the intermission. And instead of the kids, like, getting off and actually, like, having an intermission, they were like, hey guys, this is our intermission. We're going to make a couple announcements and then we're just going to move right into the second half. So the announcement was made that said, please note that anything that you are taking photos of or recording today cannot be posted anywhere online, as the show has not yet been done. And also that it is against every rule to take photos of someone that isn't your child. Well, this was 100% directed to Dog Mom, as she was back there. She was the only one, and the entire time, anybody who was out on the ice, she was taking photos of. As somebody who does not post their own child on social media, and I am aware that things like this make it more and more difficult, and I have discussed this with the coaches before. If it's something that they want to use my daughter's photo, like, rink-wise, I just want to be aware of it. I had a situation where a photo of my daughter was used in a mailer, like an emailer, for signing your kid up for lessons. And the photo was taken without my knowledge. And then they used my child's likeness for profit. And I had a really big problem with that because, first of all, I was never consulted. Is it okay if we use your daughter's photo? I was never told that they took my daughter's photo. And the photo in question at that time was like 2 years old or like a year and a half old. And I'm like, so you guys have just been like hoarding this photo of my kid to use for, hey, sign up for Learn to Skate. It did not settle well with me. I definitely raised a big stink, and it was, they never took a photo of my child again without asking. But anyway, so this woman, I have no idea. I looked her up on social media as one does, and I did not. Her page is really private. So if she posted photos of my kid, I have no idea. It's more likely she posted photos of like the higher level kids, but it is still very weird, in my opinion, to like, if it's a group number, obviously somebody else's kid is going to be in it besides your child. That's just the way it works. But if your child is doing a solo and I'm filming that person and putting it on my social media, like, that's weird to me. That's very, very weird to me. And I don't know, just, I mean, call me crazy, I guess, but like, I would never do that. Ever. I've taken pictures of things that I would never post on social media. I would never take a picture of somebody else's kid without their either asking me to or permission for it. And even then, like, I can't imagine myself going up and being like, hey, are you cool if I take a picture of your kid? It just, I don't know. Anyway, so the dress rehearsal went really well. There were a couple kids that were not there, and I don't know what the deal was. It's crazy to me. Obviously, we're in December, so every kid germ out there exists. But it seems crazy to me for some of these people who sign up, pay all these extra fees, and then they don't show up on show night. Obviously, I don't know. Like, nobody called me to be like, hey, this is why I'm not there. But they did a really good job. So I actually used that day to film whatever, so that on the day of the actual performance, I could sit and enjoy it without having to stress out as much. But Briar looked beautiful. She did such a great job. And like I said, she's very theatrical. She loves, she was skating by and waving and making the heart hands and blowing kisses, and just, it was really wonderful. The next day, she was tired. She went to school. And then she had her other private lesson. And what was she working on? I forget what she was working on. She also has a competition coming up next year, like in the beginning of the year, February, that we're planning on competing in. So she's been working on her program. She will also be skating her program, her like solo program, in real time. It'll be this weekend. One day is the NUTCRACKER, and the next day is the winter showcase for one rank. And so she's doing her solo program that she competes with in that as well. And then we just grabbed some like Indian food on the way home. It was just a long night. What am I on time? Sorry. I can't tell. There's a crack in my screen and I can't tell exactly how many minutes that says. I'm gonna take a sip of water. So I hope I don't go over like too much. But yeah. So then Thursday, I needed to drop off my daughter's skates to get them sharpened. I should have gotten them sharpened sooner than like the day before the show. However, they don't seem to affect Briar in the same way that many skaters, when they get their skates sharpened, like you would never get your skates sharpened like the day of or the day before a competition. You want to sharpen them and then break them in a little bit, especially if they're new skates, which hers are not new skates. And I was giving this analogy to a friend because she was wondering if it's better to let the skates kind of just like wear themselves out before getting them sharpened. And I explained it in a way that was explained to me, and I think it's a really good analogy, because I know all of you are just clamoring to know. Oh my gosh, how do I know about ice skates and sharpening? I'm here to tell you everything you need to know. Actually, I'm not. But so it's like a pencil, right? You don't want to wait until your pencil tip is broken off and you're like pressing into the paper to try to get lead or graphite, I guess, to write. You want to sharpen it before it gets to that point. The same thing is with skates. You don't want to wait until they're like completely obliterated before you sharpen them again, or you're going to have to take off more of the blade. And blades, like pencils, are not endless. Eventually, you'll get to a point where it can't be sharpened anymore. If you are a higher level skater, you can actually replace just the blades. The same token, if you are a higher level skater, your skates do not come with blades. So you need to find the right boot and blade combination, which I'm dreading those days because I know they're going to cost a lot more than what they do now. When my husband found out that the blades did not come on the skates at higher levels, he was like, what? Fun fact with the DaddaMonster. He also, this is just a little anecdote, funny little thingy. When she was born and we were talking, he didn't know that the first 6 months of a baby's life is spent solely on breast milk or formula. He thought that babies also ate baby food because why else would it be called baby food? And I was like, in defense, that's a great question. And he was like, why don't we buy any baby food? And I was like, because she doesn't need any baby food. And he's like, oh, he didn't know. And then now he does. And the end of that story. So anyway, I dropped off her skates. But the woman who sharpens her skates was not there. Now, keep in mind, I am using my daughter's. They are still like her own skates, so they're not rentals, but they're not these like crazy expensive, super fancy skates, but they still, you know, they're not Amazon skates. They're ordered through a professional fitter and they are a major brand. So I was a little bit nervous just leaving them out on the desk. And Brian was like, well, why don't you call and see if they got it? And I was like, here's the thing. I don't think the person who's working at the ice skate rental and the person who works at the front ticket booth, like that one would know what the other one was doing. So after I picked my kiddo up from school, I was like, do you mind if we head to the rink and I just make sure that they got your skates? And she's like, yeah, that's fine, mommy. So we do. She got the skates and she's letting me know that she hasn't gotten to them yet. The whole plan was drop them off Thursday after I take my daughter to school and then pick them up Friday before the show starts, before the dress rehearsal or before they get on the ice. And, with her skating so much other days of the week, there was really no time that I could drop it off and pick it up that wouldn't interfere with like her not having access to them for a lesson. So I got a little nervous, but we walked in and they were fine. And so she was excited because she could talk to, she loves the girl who works behind the counter, and she was chatting with her. And then we walked out to the lobby and she saw a Toys for Tots box and she was looking in it and she's like, Mommy, there's like nothing in here. And I said, when does the Toys for Tots box out till? And the front desk manager said, I think tomorrow. And I said, okay. So when we walked out, I said to my daughter, would you like to go with Mommy to Walmart and we can pick out a couple gifts and we can put them in the Toys for Tots box? And she said, yes. So the first thing I had to continuously remind her is we're not picking out gifts that we want for ourselves. Okay. Like there are definitely thousands, if not millions of other kids on the planet who like the same thing as you, but we need to make sure we're picking a wide variety of things that could appeal to a variety of children, not just 7-year-old girls who like Squishmallows, you know? And so she kept trying to pick out things and I was like, listen, kiddo, this is great. And I was trying to explain it to her in a way that was, you know, age appropriate, because you don't want to buy a pack of doll clothes and doll accessories, because you don't know if the kid that this is going to has the doll that it would fit on, right? You want to buy something that they don't need batteries for, that they don't need anything other than what it comes in the box with. This is what I was trying to explain to her. And she's like, okay, mommy. So we ended up getting, I think it was 6 toys overall. We got a little, she likes the little Barbie dolls, the Chelsea ones that are like the smaller, I guess they're like the little sister ones. I don't know. She likes those. So we picked out one of those and a Paw Patrol, I want to say it was Tracker with the vehicle. And then we picked out a garbage truck with a bunch of stuff to put in it. And a tea party set that came with the teacups and the accessories and the teapot and all of that, because I said to her, this needs to be something that a child can play with. Like you don't want to buy a board game that requires 4 people for a kid in need, because what if they don't have 4 people? You want this to be something that's going to bring them joy, but you also want it to be something that's smart. Like, the worst would be you give somebody a gift and they can't use it. Especially for a child who has, very little. And so we ended up picking out a couple things, and she was very excited to do so. And she also told me that she wanted to put some money from her piggy bank to help. And I was like, I really appreciate that. That's super kind of you. And I always try to explain to my daughter that no matter who you are in the world, there's always going to be people who have more than you, and there's always going to be people who have less than you. And if you have more than somebody, you need to be thankful for what you do have. And if you can help, then it's totally something you should do. I used to, with my dad, go and volunteer at a soup kitchen when I was younger for the holidays. And I would love to do that with Briar as well. And it was funny because I was explaining that to her, and she said that sounds like something she'd like to do. Telling a child about an act of service doesn't mean anything when they don't know what that phrase means. And so I was explaining it to her, and she said that sounded like something that she would really like to do. And I said, great, we can, look into that. And then she's like, and I'll make sure that they have this to eat. And I was like, no, 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 no. Like, if we're serving food, it's whatever was already made. Like, it's not a restaurant. And she's like, what? And then I realized, like, she doesn't understand. There are some people who, if they're hungry, they are given, like, this is what we have, and not what do you want. And, these are always conversations that are difficult to have, because you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that is age appropriate and that it doesn't, like, scare them. Because I also want her to know, like, you don't have to worry. Mommy and Daddy will always make sure that you have something to eat. And, but there are people out there who don't, and you're going to go to school with people who don't have the only hot meals that they're getting are the ones they're getting at school. And, it's a difficult conversation, but she seemed really receptive to it. And I'm hoping that this does turn into something where we can actually volunteer our time together as a family. That would be really fantastic. But she has a really big heart. So things like that, I'm not surprised that she wants to be a part of it and she wants to help. So, but I also need her to realize that, like, she has to behave if we do something like that, because I'm not going to take her somewhere where she's going to cause a scene because of one reason or another. Nobody likes seeing a child have a tantrum or a meltdown in public, but certainly not in a situation like this. So anyway, we brought back the toys, and she was very, very excited. So we were at the ring 3 times in the span of like an hour. She was very, very excited to come back. And then the next day was the Nutcracker. So we picked her up from school. She was very, very excited, and she had so many people come and see her skate, which was amazing. We had, obviously, my husband and I, and then you had my parents, his mother, and his aunt, so my daughter's great aunt, Kevin and Erica of Kevin's Creations and Kevin's DP Pens. You had a handful of friends from school and their family, and you had one of the girls that we skate with at another rink, and her mother came to watch Briar skate and to see the other kids skate, and I think there was someone else. But it was such a great show. Oh, there goes my release paper. The kids all put on an amazing show, and these are kids from like these beginner levels and all the way up to like young adult skaters. And my favorite was my mother asking me for any of the like higher level skaters, how old's that one? I don't know, Mom. Like, I don't know their name. What makes you think I'm going to know how old they are? I also don't know their social security or blood type. Like, I know that you're fascinated by it, and I know, like, my mom does not mean any harm by it, but I was just like, Mom, I don't know. And I can't tell you how many times throughout the night, well, how old's this one? Well, how old were they when they started skating? I'm like, I don't know. And Briar ended up with, we got her flowers, her friend from school got her flowers, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law got her flowers, and my parents got her flowers. And listen, I love my mom. But the next day when we were talking, she made a comment to me and she goes, we didn't put a card in ours, but our flowers were the biggest and nicest bouquet. And I was like, first of all, like, that's not necessary. But second of all, like, our bouquet that we got her was also big and beautiful. And it's not a competition. Like, I was like, Mom. Yeah. But my parents came up and I asked them if they were coming up for the next one, which again, in real time is this weekend. They are not. They were like, it's hard to make that journey. And I'm thinking, yeah, it is hard to make that journey. Hint, hint. I'm very grateful of the amount of support my daughter had. She did an amazing job. She was part of the opening number, and then she was a snowflake, and then she was Mother Ginger and her Polly Chanels, and it was a lot of fun, and I really love seeing the kids do it. I'm hoping that next year she will be up a level in terms of like where they put her for the roles. I think part of the other problem is, even though she's a higher level skater than a lot of these kids, she's really small. So they don't want to have like this little kid. And I don't think it's like an ego thing to the other kids, because there are other kids out there who are beginner skaters that have not been skating as long as my daughter or don't have the same skill level as my daughter. And that's totally okay, because there are people who've been skating less time than my daughter and she is not as far ahead as them. It just is what it is, you know? But also I'm hoping that maybe next year, her and the little girl that came to watch us skate, that maybe the two of them can do, a number together. Like, that would be so great. And I know her mom was hoping like this year, I knew they didn't have enough time to work on choreography, but I think if we kind of like drop that hint to the coach now and be like, listen, next year, can we put them in something together? Because I think by next year, they'll both have a couple of their single jumps down. Briar has her waltz jump down, and she's working on a toe loop, and I think she did her Salchow like once or twice. The other little girl has all of those down, and she started working on her Lutz. And they're the same age, and they train together. They have the same coach. They hang out together at the rink, and just they've skated together for quite some time now. So we will see. We will see if that's something that we can get done or not. But she did an amazing job, and specifically, one of the things that sets the other little girl that I was just talking about apart from my daughter is that she's really good at picking up choreography and implementing it, whereas Briar sometimes she knows what it is, but she's a little bit more hesitant. And so she kind of waits for other people to start before she does the skill or whatever she needs to do. So this time around, we were actually watching her as she was like kind of pointing to the other kids, like, you go over here, you come this way. And it was really wonderful to see. She did an amazing job. And in my opinion, she can only just keep improving. The more she does it, the more she falls in love with it. And she actually, one of her costumes was a little, it says Elf in Charge, and it is gray leggings, white long sleeve t-shirt, and then a red and green like apron dress that crisscrosses in the back, and it has a pocket that says Elf in Charge, and they wore an elf hat. And I had to go to Walmart the day of the show because I needed to try and figure out how to make said hat smaller on my peanut of a child's head. And I took it in like 2 inches and I put some stitches in it to make it smaller. And oddly enough, she has a dress like an elf, reindeer, or Santa spirit day today. And she is wearing that at school. 'Cause she's like, mommy. I was like, you can wear it. I don't care. If I spent the money on the costumes, what good is it just having it sit in my house, you know? But that day I had to do her hair and her makeup, and I was like, this child has enough makeup on right now to, like, a child pageant star would be like, that's a lot, you know? But she loved it, and it was a really great time. And I'm really, really happy. She had a great time. She did great. I can't stop raving about her in the Nutcracker. But the next day she had skating at the other rink. We did another run through of one of the numbers, and there was some major like personal drama happening at the rink. I'm not going to go into that because it's not my place to tell that, but it was a very high tension day. And unfortunately it bled over to like where the kids were kind of feeling it. So that was fun. And then afterwards, my daughter had a play date with a classmate from school. It was her and 3 girls from her grade or her class, and 1 girl from the other first grade class. And all of these girls rode the bus together last year. But my daughter rode it so infrequently that she didn't really connect with these kids until this year. And they just like love and adore her, which is, as a parent, obviously great. But this is the first time my child has been to a play date at someone's house since she was a toddler. COVID put a really big damper on that. I mean, it's crazy to think that COVID was almost 5 years ago. My kid is 7. She just turned 7. So all of those like formative years, she wasn't going to people's houses. And then primarily play dates that she had last year were, let's go to the playground together, or let's go to the library where they have like a huge kids playroom and art stuff. And it just was just one of those situations that I wasn't sure how she was going to handle it. And as soon as I got there, because I let her know, I said, you dictate what you want. You want mommy to stay? I will stay. I will stay as long as you want me to. I said, but at the same token, it will not hurt mommy's feelings if you say, hey, mommy, I want you to go home. Like, I won't be offended. And you could tell her being like, really? Yes, I will. I will be okay. I'm a grown up. I can handle it. It's okay. So we got there, and immediately she's like, bye, mommy. I was like, okay. Now, it does help me, and it soothes my mind knowing that my daughter has a smartwatch that she can call me if she needs to. And the girl's mom, who was hosting it, was like, I'll give you a call if there's any issues. And I was like, thank you. And she had a really great time, and she had so much fun. The problem is, as I mentioned earlier, she really struggles with transitions. So when I came to pick her up, she hid behind the couch and did not want to go. And I kept reminding her, like, listen, it's okay to be sad. I know you want to hang out with your friends, but the play date is over. You know, she needs to go back to doing like family things. You know, maybe they have dinner plans. It's none of my business what they have planned for after the play date. But I am really trying to get my child to understand that when we are invited somewhere, if there is an end time, that is when it's time to go. We don't start getting the process of we want to leave, and then an hour later we're still there. It's time to go. So she had a really hard time with that, but she had a really good time, and it was a Christmas play date, which you know, I don't celebrate Christmas, and that is something that was known. But my daughter was given a personalized Santa hat, which she gets to wear red and green in a couple days for one of her many spirit days, so she'll wear that. And she got a stocking, and they filled it full of dye-free snacks, which I thought was super, super kind. They did not have to go out of their way to buy something that my kid could eat. Like something special, you know what I mean? And it just, the kindness of this mom just really, it warmed my heart, because I don't have a lot of like my daughter's friends' parents that I am friendly with. Whether it's we just don't talk, or they're not really interested, or what, but she was one of the ones that came to my kiddo's show the night before. She brought her 2 kids and the little girl that's their neighbor, who's also a good friend of my daughter's. And it was just really, really wonderful. And I see here that I have hit the hour mark, so I think this is a good place to end. Next WIP Chat, I will be discussing, more than likely, the ice shows for this weekend. But if you made it all the way to the end, please leave me an ice skate emoji so that I know you made it all the way to the end. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this, or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad, and while you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping, or at school. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!